We're in the very heart of London, and welcome back to What Happened on This Day. I know, but you can hardly wait, can you? But you're not sleeping thinking, I wonder what Neil's found out about what happened on this day. Cheeky. I know, I'm trying my best here. We're going to kick off with someone that really is, well, internationally known. Some might say for all the wrong reasons, particularly when you count back around about 25 years on Sunset Strip with a lady called Divine Brown. Since then, of course, he's gone on to a stellar career with lots of romantic comedy films and recently moving into more dramatic parts. Over here in the United Kingdom, though, he's got a little bit too political, and there's a lot of backlash against the superstar known as Hugh Grant. But on this day, yes, that's right, it was his birthday, and more importantly for you, as I say, he told me in an interview that he wasn't sure he wanted to be an actor full-time. He just kind of liked the idea of it. If he hadn't been an actor, he said he wouldn't mind being a politician, but that looked too much like hard work too. Good job he didn't, because he's made some incredibly splendid films, and a lot of us have enjoyed his performances too. But as ever, what else happened on this day? Well, this is going to leave you shaken and stirred, because on this day in 1956 there was a big warning put out across America. Well, that's right, boys and girls, because if you were sat at home watching TV with your mum and dad, no, the king of rock and roll was appearing for the very first time on the Ed Sullivan Show. I've interviewed many people actually who appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show, and they were saying he was a kind of a strange guy, couldn't really read auto cue, a little bit sort of laborious in his approach, but had incredible ratings. He must have done something right, because they named a theatre after him on Broadway, and Elvis Presley absolutely loved being on the Ed Sullivan Show. It did a lot for his career. Now, sadly, on this day, we lost a brilliant actor, in my opinion anyway. His full name is Oliver Burgess Meredith, but of course I know him as the Penguin from Batman, the very first original series. I loved him in that. I thought he was brilliant, you know. And he was one of those actors that was in many films, never necessarily the major star. And I don't know if you know this, but in the late 40s, he kind of made one of the very first, what you might call, reality TV documentary films over here in England, using some incredible locations. They recently re-showed it over here on TV. And apparently it wasn't a success the first time around, but of course, you know, probably too much ahead of his time. Apparently on this day, this was the day where this particular tune was officially became the US national anthem by a congressional resolution. The lyrics were by Francis Scott Key, and in 1814 it was set to John Stafford Smith's 18th century tune. You know what I'm talking about, of course, the brilliant Star Spangled Banner. Many people, of course, have attempted it. Many people have done well, particularly at inaugurations, haven't they? Some haven't done as well as others, though. It's one of those tunes, a little bit like our very own national anthem. When you hear it, you just simply want to stand proud, grab a flag and wave. What a tune. And when you think about it, what a big success these people had in thinking of that, and they would have no idea that it lived on to this day. 1894, on this day, a brilliant man of movies was born. He was the American songwriter, film producer, particularly of the MGM kind. He was born in Charlestown, South Carolina, and his name is Arthur Freed. Arthur Freed was the man responsible for so many hit musical segments, scores throughout the whole golden period of MGM, particularly for people like Gene Kelly, Judy Garland, Frank Sinatra, you name it. If it had his name on it, it had hit music. He was there right till the end, until MGM was kind of sold and broken up. Apparently, he cried on the very final day, because he said he'd enjoyed every single day of appearing on the set and creating what we now know as golden magic of the movie. Finally, on this day, a man that I got to know very well indeed. He's a wonderful composer, songwriter, singer, producer, had so many hits when you think about it. We're talking about one half of the brilliant pop duo, the Eurythmics, Mr. Dave Stewart. He was born in Sunderland in the north of England on this day. Started many bands, and as I say, is a very, very clever man. Got a lot of fun about him too, you know, because of the characters that he played in those videos with the Eurythmics, which were groundbreaking when you think about it. People think he was a bit of a serious character, but he's not. He's got musicals, film musicals, and endless pop hits. He first came to my attention actually in the early 80s when he released a track which he co-produced with a lady called Barbara Gaskin, and it was their take on It's My Party. You know, the big one, and I'll cry if I want to. Of course, he went on to stellar success with Annie Lennox, first with the Tourists and then moving into the Eurythmics. Of course, their music lives on, and if you haven't witnessed the Eurythmics in action, as I always say, do check out some of them on YouTube. The tunes are great. I suppose my particular favourite is Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. And do you know, when Annie and Dave tried to go to America for the very first time, she turned up in the full costume for the video because they were running late. And apparently they wouldn't let them through because on her passport it said female, and they were convinced she was a man. How times change, eh? And now, as ever, I ask, will you join me tomorrow? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.